plenty of passes in yesterday's race. They exit the keyhole and the green flag flies, and the veteran Celine Roland gets the advantage. She jumps out to the early lead, but Tony, they're going 3 wide behind him. Gresham Wagner, Robert Stout, and Robert Noaker.
I'll tell you what, Roland drives like a veteran, but it's still only his second year in the Battery Tender Global MX-5 Cup. And boy, Robert Stout got aggressive after starting position number 3. He's already picked up a spot. He's into second. Gresham Wagner, Robert Noaker going door to door now, and then Michael Carter in that Soul Red Mazda, that scholarship winning car, is in 5th. And boy, I think John Dean has already put his hat into the ring as well. But a cleaner start than yesterday, Mark. Really good to see on the opening lap.
Ryan Hall was in contention all day yesterday. He started in the 6th position, and just like that, through the first 15 spots, they go single file. So maybe the mindset, Tony, going to be similar to what it was yesterday in that look. I have no reason to force the issue early. If an opportunity comes, we're going to take it, but it's a long race, and we'll maybe as long as we can stay with that lead pack, maybe we'll wait until the last couple of laps to make our move.
We're watching a really good battle right here as they come to the final 2 corners. Hernan Palermo and Nathaniel Sparks, they are podium contenders in the ND1 category. That's the older generation MX-5 Cup car, down 26 horsepower, as Mo hit on already. But the number 8 of Sparks and the 20 of Hernan Palermo. Palermo picked up a victory at round 6 back at Road America just about a month ago. They're having a really good fight right now, and it looks like we might have a car on pit lane. That's the number 78 of Brandon White, Luke Oxner's teammate out of Greeley, Colorado for White Racing. White went off on the grass on that opening lap. He's going to park it to the attention of his White Racing team. They go to work on the back end of it. So an unauspicious start for the 77 yesterday, and unfortunately the same for the 78 today.
Roland and Stout head toward turn number 4. Stout jumps to the high side. That's not the optimal way around there. Protecting the bottom of the racetrack, banging door handle to door handle is Roland, but somehow Stout is able to make that pass stick, and as he does so, that allows Noaker and Carter to get into that battle.
This bunches things up perfectly, and guys, we have been calling Robert Stout to podium finishes the last 3 seasons of Global MX-5 Cup racing. He is sick of not winning races. Robert is a threat each and every weekend, every session, every track we go to. He just let everyone on this track know that he's not going to sit back and ride in second. You rattled off the stat earlier, Mark. He led 1 lap in yesterday's race. Robert Noaker led the rest of them. Stout wants this win. It's very early in this race. It might not be the best strategy, but it sure is entertaining. He leads this lap in front of Celine Roland, and things are picking up right behind him for 3rd. Gresham Wagner, Robert Noaker going door to door as they come out of the final corner. Noaker picks up the 3rd spot.
Yeah, Robert Noaker goes to P3 as the field storms into turn number 1. We saw coming out of Thunder Valley that car of Celine Roland attacked the curbing to the high side, almost upset the balance of the race car and took him and the leader, Robert Stout, out, but he was able to hold on. I was really impressed with that move into turn number 4. We said going into it that the high side is not the optimal side, but he was able to lean on him a little bit. Look at that strong move to the bottom of the racetrack, picking up a couple of spots off the hairpin.
Ryan Hall just got 2 for the price of 1 in the keyhole. That move was sexy, what he just did right there. Hall is going to pick up 2 spots in turn number 2. He is going to move from 6th up to 4th, I believe. That should be where he runs right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that puts him up to 5th. Battle for the lead continues as Robert Noaker, who got around for 3rd place, now sets his sights on Celine Roland. They come out of 4, up the hill in 5. But boy, Robert Stout really kind of putting them all on notice early here, Mark.
To Nick Yeoman.
Yeah, really impressive to see a lot of side-by-side racing early in this event. As Tony pointed out, 1 car already to pit lane. That was Brandon White from Greeley, Colorado. A lot of tape put on the left rear of that machine. He also did a nice job of letting the entire field go by, making sure he can blend back into the racetrack. So again, a little bit of left rear damage for Brandon White.
Don't look now, but the guy that was your points leader coming into Mid-Ohio, he's widened the elbows out a little bit, showing a bit more aggression. He wants that points lead back. Talking about 7th place running Drake Kemper. He's in that shiny car, that shiny silver car, the 99 machine. He made some pretty good moves in Thunder Valley.
Yeah, the Lemons of Love car, that number 99, driven by Drake Kemper. And Mo, this is where I kind of want to lean on your expertise. expertise of the car. We see him running so much better, 10 positions better than he did at this point yesterday. What do you think are some of the adjustments that Drake and the 6 sideways guys might have made to that 99 to help him elevate his position so much overnight?
Well, one of the things that affected Drake's race yesterday is he got hit on the first lap. Peter Enser hit him in the left rear corner, and that likely knocked the alignment out or knocked the toe in on the left rear corner. And so his car was not operating the way it should have been for most of the race yesterday. And when you get mired back in the pack and you lose your focus and you lose your rhythm, it's very hard to gather that back up again. The other thing that's important, it doesn't affect him specifically, but for all the cars, as Nick mentioned in our opening, we're racing now much earlier in the day than we did yesterday. And the temperature, the ambient temperature, is quite a bit lower, and more importantly, the track temperature is quite a bit lower than we raced on yesterday. And that's going to allow these cars to really behave in a much more racy way than they did yesterday. When I say much more, I'm talking about increments that you and I wouldn't feel, but these guys being so in tune with these cars would see a huge difference.
The 99 of Kemper in the 7th position. He's attacking the 76 of Hall, who's running in the 6th position. And Mo, Tony referenced Lemons of Love. Let's delve a little deeper into that and explain to people exactly what Lemons of Love is as it pertains to the series.
It's one of the great stories in this series. Lemons of Love is a charity. Jill Swanson founded that. She's a former cancer survivor. She's not a former cancer, she's a cancer survivor. And she created a charity to provide care packages for people and families going through chemotherapy and cancer treatment. And one of the ways she chose to raise funds for the charity was to auction off a Mazda Mx-5 Cup car every year. We've done it for 3 years now. The first year she auctioned off the car, the winner of that car was Drake Kemper. And this was an ND1 car originally, and Drake converted this to ND2 and is making very, very good use of the Lemons of Love raffle winning car.
Look at that move to the high side. He can't quite make it stick. You see it start to shake a little bit, but that effort by Drew Kemper to get Hall continues off of the keyhole as they head down toward turn number 4.
Yeah, Drake Kemper is really going to work right now on the 76, that blue and yellow from Bracine Hall. Ryan Hall driving it. And I talked about it yesterday. They have really hit on something in that 76. They all fan out going down the back straightaway into turn 4. And Robert Stout is just driving so well right now. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's not really forfeiting too much on corner exit mark. And you guys see this all the time, whether it's in the NTT IndyCar Series, the Road to Indy ladder system, or here in Mx-5 Cup. You got to be slow in, fast out, and that's exactly what Robert Stout is doing. And he's able to keep Celine Roland behind him. Robert Noaker, Michael Carter, Ryan Hall, the rest of this top 5. These guys are driving so well right now, and this is what I love about Mx-5 Cup. Whether you're all by yourself or battling in a train that's 10 cars long, you have to drive a smooth and consistent lap, or you're going to get passed by everybody on the track.
Once they get to the exit of Thunder Valley, they're pretty much single file until they get to the carousel. Then they exercise a bit of patience off the right-hander, then back left to that short straightaway. It pretty much stays that way until the exit of 1, Tony, and we've noticed the last couple of laps, I think they figured it out. Obviously the keyhole, and then again going into turn number 4 and that 4, 5, and 6 complex. Those are the 2 best passing zones here in Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, absolutely. And drivers told us as Luke Ochsner does a little bit of landscaping on the exit of turn 1 right there. Ryan Hall now looks to the inside of Michael Carter. That's going to be for the 4th position. Celine Roland takes a look on Stout, but Carter's going to try and go the long way around. We saw him try this yesterday, and it didn't have the best results. Carter's going to drop the left side. BF Goodrich is off on the grass on the exit of 2, and that allows Noaker to stay right where he was in 3rd. Now Noaker's going to receive support in drafting help from the 78 of Ryan Hall. They're going to hook up and go down the back straightaway. This could be real bad news for Michael Carter. He's on the risk of getting freight trained right here. He's going to go from 4th to 5th. Now he's in 6th, battling with Drake Kemper. Man, Michael Carter, he's just tried that outside in turn 2 too many times. You wonder why he keeps going back to the well mark. It hasn't worked for him yet.
Noaker is really laying on Celine Roland, and as he opens up the bottom of the racetrack, the 76 of Hall is right there. Kemper has fallen off of that battle just a little bit. He has concerns of his own with a 5 with Gresham Wagner back to Mo with a note on Robert Noaker.
So just by looking at what's going on the racetrack, we're way, way too early to start thinking about who might win this race and therefore what the championship outcome might be. But before this weekend started, Robert Noaker left the 6 Sideways team with whom he competed for the first half of the season, and they've decided to go out on their own. His reasonings at the time, he said, I don't think I'm going to win the championship. I'm too far out of the points, so maybe we'll go our own way and you know, begin early on putting together a program for next year. Yesterday, of course, our 2 championship leaders have a terrible day. The guy who was in 3rd place in points failed to capitalize, and Robert Noaker wins, puts himself right back into the championship hunt. So that's an interesting development for a guy who on Friday said, I'm not really a championship contender.
I know.
And here, maybe that's the 15-year-old in him not being able to see the big picture.
Michael Carter is really liking the way his car handles to the high line in the hairpin. He's not been able to pick up any positions, though. We'll keep an eye on him as the front 6 start to separate themselves a little bit as they head toward turn number 4. Let's go back to pit road, check in with Nick Yeoman.
Mark just had the driver from Tallahassee, Florida, Brian Lockwood, visit pit lane for 6 Sideways Racing, reporting that car cutting out a little bit at the higher RPMs. Came in, the stay on pit lane was very brief. They sent him back out of the racetrack, but Brian Lockwood did look like he might have lost a lap here in Mid-Ohio.
Michael Carter is using all of the racetrack, no question about it.
You know what, he is, and I don't want to be too critical of our Mazda Scholarship driver because I know I've been harping on his line through turn 2, but he just worked the outside in turn 4 at the end of the back straightaway. It was a very sharp-looking move, and he was able to get around Drake Kemper and lock down solidly the 4th position. So he's living and he's dying by that high line around the track. I have no idea why he keeps going up there in turn 2, but obviously he sees something. He feels like he has the momentum to complete a pass, but it's not working for him in 2, yet it does seem to be paying off for him in different sections of the track. Kemper is trying to wear out the rear bumper, and if you're Michael Carter, you really don't want to be anywhere near too many 6 Sideways cars here today at Mid-Ohio because he was not happy at all with Celine Roland after yesterday's race. But don't worry, because Celine wasn't happy with Carter. We've got a budding rivalry that's kicking into high gear with 2 weekends of racing left, Mark, and it's getting exciting, that's for sure.
Well, I think from a strategic standpoint, if you're Drake Kemper, you had the points lead. You finished 21st yesterday. You're running in the top 5, and I think if you get an opportunity to improve a position here or there, I think you do so as he goes door handle to door handle with Ryan Hall off of the keyhole. But let's face it, at this point, maybe based upon the struggles yesterday, but be wise and be judicious about your decision making. And if you come home with the top 5, at least you're still very much in the throes of the championship.
That's what makes championship racing, season-long battles, so entertaining, because this is a 6-weekend doubleheader series, making it 12 rounds of the 2019 season. And you painted the picture perfectly, Mark. You've got to race with a unique mindset when you're in the position like Drake Kemper is. Yes, he had a really bad day yesterday, so, you know, the alpha in you says, man, I got to go get every position. I got to get every car. I got to lead every lap and win every race. But that's not how racing works. The more you risk, the more you stand to lose. And so Drake Kemper, you're right, has to really be smart here and go, hey, listen, I finished outside the top 20 yesterday. A top 15 would be great. Heck, a top 10 would be great. He's running inside the top 5. If the checker would fly right now, it'd be a massive improvement. But of course, he's a racer, and as we all know, 5th is good, 4th is better, 3rd's really good, and heck, wins the best. So he's not going to stop pushing. But again, Robert Stout is just looking great right now, Mo.
And of these top 5 cars running nose to tail, only Robert Stout and Drake Kemper in 1st and 5th are old enough to rent a car. The 3 kids in the sandwich are all very, very young.
You talk about those kids, an impressive rookie class in this series this year, Mo. Talk specifically about what the $75,000 in support from Mazda, how it benefits each young driver.
So, Rookie of the Year prize in this series is $75,000. Celine Roland had a very good year yesterday. It was last year, I should say. Was a championship contender all year. Ultimately didn't win the championship, but won Rookie of the Year. He took that $75,000 prize and turned it into funding for this year. But that's just one of several prizes available to drivers here. The ND2 championship winner gets a $200,000 prize. The ND1 championship winner gets a $100,000 prize. Michael Carter is here racing on the Mazda Club Racer Scholarship, which gives a $100,000 scholarship to a selected grassroots racer. We pull a bunch of racers together at the end of the year and have a shootout. Michael Carter won that shootout. So all told, several $100,000 up for grabs in this championship.
I don't mean to cut you off, Mark, but as we saw at the start here, lap number 9, 2nd place has been traded. Robert Noaker made a great move on Celine Roland, so that moves Noaker 1 position closer to where he finished yesterday, P1, but more importantly, that shuffles Roland back to 3rd. Who's right in his mirrors in 4th position? The 08 scholarship winner, Michael Carter. And he's sandwiched between Roland and Roland's 6 Sideways teammate, Drake Kemper.
Yeah, Drake Kemper right there, as we said, after finishing very deep in the field yesterday. Kemper is running consistently in the top 5, and I was just getting ready to make the observation that with about 30 minutes to go in this race, perhaps the top 5 or 6 had decided to settle into race pace. And as soon as I say that, we saw the change for position between Noaker and Roland, and they fan out 4 wide going into the keyhole.
They do fan out, and whether it was Celine Roland looking on the inside of Noaker, Drake Kemper, who now makes a move on Carter. Boy, Gresham Wagner with a hard drop of those left side BFGs on the exit of turn number 2, and that's going to pretty much give Ryan Hall that position. But yeah, Mark, they all fanned out heading up the hill to turn 2. Such a good opportunity. Now Noaker's going to receive support for just a moment from his former teammate Celine Roland. Everybody wanted to take a look on the inside of Robert Stout, but Stout is driving cool right now. No matter what they do behind him, Stout's hitting his marks. He's got his dad Ken on the radio telling him what's going on behind him and what he needs to do. Robert's driving the best I've ever seen him drive right now. This is super entertaining to watch.
At some point, I think Michael Carter, to what you suggested earlier, might want to try to get to the inside of the track a little quicker heading up to the keyhole, because he's just not able to accomplish much in terms of maintaining momentum out of the keyhole. He's the only one consistently going through the high side. He haven't been able to make it work yet.
And Mark, after yesterday's race, he was a genuine contender for the win until about 3 laps in the end, and he went to the high side through the hairpin up there and lost several places, and it ruined his race. I talked to him afterwards, and I said, hey, you know, I tried to tell him, hey, stay on the curb, hit through there. Don't go to the high side. It's not working for you. He was so wound up. He was so angry about the incident with Celine Roland that I don't think he was listening to anybody talking to him immediately after yesterday's race.
128 passes so far. And we start to see a little separation now. It goes about 10 to 12 cars back as we see a side-by-side battle into the keyhole. Bottom of the racetrack opens up, and they are really laying on one another. Robert Stout and Robert Noaker. They clear the hairpin. The side-by-side drag race continues with Celine Roland, Drake Kemper, and Michael Carter looking on.
It's a battle of the Robs down the back straightaway right now. Little Bob, Robert Noaker, with support in the form of drafting help from Drake Kemper and Celine Roland. They are going to clear early race leader Robert Stout. Stout's going to get shuffled from first back to second, maybe even third here. He's doing a good job, but he's got Drake Kemper, Ryan Hall, and Michael Carter all over him. Man, Robert Noaker knows this place so well. He knows where to pick his spots, make his moves, and he's just done it. Noaker now to lead, Celine Roland in second. That's going to shuffle early race leader Robert Stout back to third, Kemper in fourth. Michael Carter rounds out your top 5. A lot can happen very quickly here.
He's as surprised as anyone, I think, with his success here at Mid-Ohio, because he said when he first started racing here, he just couldn't figure this place out, talking about Robert Noaker.
I think that's exactly the case. If you could see Robert inside the helmet right now, his eyes are probably huge, I would imagine. But then again, you know, the kid walks through the pit area, and you know, you never know that there's any adrenaline or nerves running through him. He's a very cool customer, and I think in this MX-5 Cup Series, where momentum is the key, you must remain calm behind the wheel of the car, because as we all know, when you start thinking too quick and making mistakes, any scrubbing of speed in this category where momentum is so key, Mo, you're going to lose 5-10 positions easily.
Yeah, these cars have 181 horsepower. The engines are sealed. They're the same horsepower that's available in the production MX-5 that's available at Mazda dealerships throughout the country. And the engines are sealed, so you can't mod the engines at all. All the race car modifications are in the suspension and the safety stuff, roll cages and belts and all that kind of stuff. The transmission is also modified. So with production level horsepower, 181 horsepower in a 2,300-pound car, that makes for a very sporty ride. But they're not overpowered cars. You can't get the entry into a corner all wrong and just stomp on the gas and have it drive out of the corner. You have to carry momentum in the corners. And that's where finesse is really paid off. And that's what makes this series such a great training ground for drivers, because they really learn to drive with your fingertips, because that's how when they step up to higher powered sports cars and open wheel cars, if some of them move up that direction, you know, this very, very tiny finesse movement with your fingertips is what separates the good from the great.
40 feet wide is this Mid-Ohio sports car course, and the 99 of Drake Kemper, Tony, is making it about 42 feet wide through Thunder Valley.
Exactly, Mark. He is using every inch of this racetrack, and I don't know what is different on that car, or maybe what's different within that driver, but it is a tale of two different races here at Mid-Ohio sports car course. Drake Kemper's driving out of his mind right now, and I don't know if that's just out of anger, out of fear from what happened yesterday, but the driver who lives in Thermal, California right now is doing phenomenally. Robert Nowaker, the youngest driver in the field, continues to lead. Rookie of the year from last season, Celine Roland right there in second. And man, turn 2 here is such a great corner. And you know what? I gave Michael Carter a lot of flack earlier in the broadcast for running so wide in turn 2. Ryan Hall's been trying the same thing, and I can't blame him because it's a super appealing line to the corner. Everybody else is getting on the brakes real early and trying to hug down into that corner. Well, why not try to swing wide and carry a bunch of momentum through the high side of turn number 2? So it's going to work one of these times for these guys, but right now, Celine Roland takes a look on the high side in turn 4. That's a corner where it's probably not going to work, but thankfully it bends to the left. Now Roland has the inside line, and it's going to be a change for the lead. Maybe as the former teammates go door handle to door handle, Nowaker's going to finally show his bumper to Celine Roland. That section right there is just so lending to great racing, and Celine Roland can do nothing but just hold on as Nowaker holds the lead here.
Success seems to come when that backstretch starts to bend a little bit. The cars that seem to perform the best are the ones that are bold enough, right where, for instance, the NTT IndyCar Series will actually start the race later today, coming down out of that keyhole, and that if you can jump out there, that allows you to carry a little momentum into a very important complex through 4, 5, and 6. Mo?
So as the young kids are entertaining us up at the front of the pack, let's just take a quick look at the Indy 1 standings. Usual suspects in first, second, and third. John Dean is running 12th overall. He's first in Indy 1. Hernan Palermo and Nathaniel Sparks, second and third. But in fourth place in Indy 1 is the only girl in the race, Sarah Montgomery. And if Sarah Montgomery were able to get ahead of either Sparks or Palermo or even Dean, she would become the first female racer to stand on a battery tender MX-5 Cup podium. So let's see how her race evolves. We're about halfway through, 22 minutes left. Let's see how she does.
I coached girls softball in high school for a long time, and they prefer to be called ladies, Mo. Let you know, if you call them girls, you're going to hear about it right away.
And you'll hear it from Sarah, the young lady from Lafayette or Louisiana. But Sarah is so great, and she is such an asset to this series. We had Lonnie Unser, the second young lady racing in the series. They're not in for the remainder of 2019, but Sarah Montgomery fits in perfectly with a real wild bunch of guys over at Six Sideways Racing. But she's a real treat to have in the series, and I'm grateful to see her here, and we need her on the podium soon.
And the one entity that does not know whether it's a boy or a girl or a lady or a man is the car.
Amen.
The car doesn't care or know what gender the driver is, and that's why this is a great place for young ladies to come and race against the guys and strut their stuff with all the boys out here.
150 total passes through the first half of this race. Robert Nowaker tried to get out the broom here at Mid-Ohio. Celine Roland, Robert Stout, Kemper, Paul, Wagner, Carter, Ortiz, Oxner, and Enzer, the top 10 here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
Experience the reimagined Mazda 3.
It doesn't matter what you're driving or where you're going. It all starts with battery tender, because if you can't start it, you can't use it.
Mazda and back-to-back wins twice in 7 days. It's a win for Mazda Team Yost.
Welcome back to the Ohio Sports Car Course, as is often the case. When you call for a commercial break, you have a pass for the lead. We've learned that that's just a way of life. And Tony Laporta, a different driver in P1 right now.
Celine Roland, he took over the championship point lead after round 7 yesterday. He's taken over the race lead during that commercial break, and he did it, Mark, just as you said before the break. That bend going down the back straightaway is where guys really start to feel brave. Celine Roland got a great run on the outside, actually, of Robert Noaker. He was able to force his way on the inside, and then when they got to the top of the hill, turn number 5, Noaker had nothing to give Celine Roland in the form of a battle. Roland was able to work his way back around as we see that battle for the lead, not slowing down, but just this time it's Roland taking the point, Noaker trying to steal it back.
Yeah, we'll see if Noaker's able to do what Celine Roland did, and he does, and he takes Robert Stout along with him, opening up the bottom of the racetrack for Drake Kemper to go with Celine Roland. And look how strong that car is into the turn. A little bit of contact with the 28 car of Robert Stout. Both almost bust loose, but look, that opens the door for Drake Kemper. He wants the 3rd spot.
Guys, Stout literally didn't just draft help Robert Noaker to lead. Stout shoved Robert Noaker right around Celine Roland. That was cool. And then the resulting kind of, jolt in speed to Robert Stout carried him over to the left rear fender of Celine Roland. We're just past the halfway point in this one, and temperature's already starting to go up. That was crazy. Stout just shoved Noaker right past Celine Roland for the race lead.
Front 2 starting to step away a little bit, and it is a heated battle most assuredly as they work their way through the carousel. They'll hit that short front straightaway before we know it. Noaker catches the inside with the right rear. Talking about the curbing, the car bounces a little bit, but he gathers it back in. Drake Kemper looks like he wants that 3rd spot. For now, he'll settle back in line as the leaders come off of turn number 1 and head back to the keyhole.
This is good stuff right now. Robert Noaker doesn't have a very big lead at all, but Celine Roland and him are starting to space out a little bit. Drake Kemper pulls way out wide, and Noaker defends on the inside against Celine Roland. Noaker defends to the inside against Roland. Stout defends to the inside against Kemper, and that time everybody gets through turn 2 pretty much single file. Nobody tries anything, but boy, look at Noaker dive right to the inside. He takes a hard right-hand turn out of that 2nd corner hairpin because he knows he's not going to let Celine Roland get around him. Drake Kemper tries things out a little bit on the high side, but Stout says, no, I don't think so, my man. And everybody fans out and stays in the positions they entered the back straightaway as they hit turn 4.
Keep an eye on that battle among the top 5. Noaker, Roland, and Stout the top 3. Let's go back to pit road and Nick Yeoman.
Yeah, Mark, no one's enjoying the racing action down here more than John Doonan, the director of motorsports for Mazda North America. Cooler temperatures, early morning race. What do you think of this racing here in Mid-Ohio?
Well, we talked before, Nick, there is no better road racing on the planet. You find yourself smiling and chuckling and watching all the action. Suddenly on pit road, all the IndyCar mechanics, team owners, engineers are down here. They sort of look like they're working, but in the end, they're here to watch Mx-5 Cup.
In ND2 right now, Robert Noaker, the 15-year-old, leading, trying to win here again for a 2nd straight day. Already did it for a 2nd straight year with the victory yesterday. How impressed are you with him? It seems like you guys kind of have a star in the making in this young man.
Well, for sure, when we set this platform out, it's part of our Mazda Road to 24, so young talent like Robert or Tyler Gonzalez or Tyler Maxon, these young kids coming out of go-karting, mixing it up with veterans as well. And the whole spirit of the Battery Tender Mx-5 Cup is to provide a platform that's cost-effective, that has parity, such that all the drivers know that they've got an equal chance to put the car in victory lane. And BF Goodrich has come up with an amazing tire. I told those guys they might need to come up with an off-road tire because so many guys spend some time off in the grass. But what a great show we're putting on for the fans here at the track, but also those watching the live stream.
Yeah, certainly we continue to see side-by-side action between Robert Noaker and Celine Roland up front in ND2. John Dean having a great season in ND1. I know I'm not the first to congratulate you, but the IMSA win, certainly it's been a long time coming. I know there's been bumps in the road. How rewarding was that for everybody at Mazda Motorsport?
Yeah, the whole brand, 7 years of waiting, and then 2 in 7 days. So we're really excited for the whole Mazda family, and we've said for years when we go to the track, it was about winning for the Mazda family. And I said at the drivers' meeting when we got here on Thursday that you know, everybody in the room so many gracious notes, but in the end, it was a win for Mazda, and we're really proud of that. But at the same time, I love watching this. I smile just as wide here as I do when we have success up there.
John, great seeing you. Enjoy the rest of the race.
Thanks, Nick.
Again, that's John Doonan, the Director of Motorsports for Mazda North America. Again, Mark, 2 big wins in IMSA, and certainly we're poised to see an exciting finish here at Mx-5, just under 15 minutes to go in Mid-Ohio.
Happiest man in motorsports, period, end of story. Noaker, Roland, Drake Kemper now up to 3rd, flexing some muscles. Stout, Wagner, Ortiz, Hall, Carter, Oxner, and Lee, the top 10.
I'll tell you how Drake Kemper made that move onto the podium, provisionally at least right now, Mark. It was 1 lap ago in that corner, the exit right there. There's a look at Jackson Robillard, your battery tender hard charge award winner from yesterday. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he'll pick up that award again as he takes it for a spin in the final corner. But what Kemper did 1 lap ago in turn 2 at the Guillaume was he almost put all 4 BF Goodriches on that inside curbing, and he was able to shoehorn his way around for 3rd place. But he's got company in Robert Stout right now, and they're 2 by 2 at the front. Celine Roland takes the fight to Robert Noaker. They snake out of 5 now to the right-hander, turn 6. Noaker's going to show the bumper to Celine Roland, and Stout does the same to Drake Kemper. So it's about a 4-position swing when you add it all up. Noaker to the lead in front of Celine Roland. Stout back to 3rd in front of Kemper. Gresham Wagner sitting right there in 5th, taking it all in.
Yeah, fascinating to watch that as this race is unfolded clearly for these drivers, Tony. The goal is to get off of that keyhole with as much momentum as you can and then pop it to the outside, right where that starting line is, coming down that back straightaway to gain that momentum and that advantage into 4.
Here's a shot at the 98 of Robillard going for a spin in that second to last corner. Looks like a little bit of side-by-side contact is made. Looks like Robillard might have just gotten into that second to last corner a little too hot. And then I want to say that's the 21 of Harry Voigt. I think, I'm not positive, but Robillard got into that corner a little hot, slid up, bounced off the car next to him, and that's what sent him for a spin. And really quickly, I just want to mention we've been watching on our auxiliary cameras a really good battle involving Sarah Montgomery for that 4th position right now in the ND1 category. Mo's been doing a great job of reminding us it's 2 separate classes of racing right now. John Dean II leads it in ND1 after picking up 5 wins to start the season. He scored his 6th yesterday. Then it's Hernan Palermo who won round 6 at Road America. Palermo in 2nd, and then Nathaniel Sparks, former series champion, rounds out the podium in ND1.
Well, we referenced the Hard Charger Award. Tell us more.
Yes, Tony just mentioned it there as we had a spinner, yesterday's Hard Charger Award winner. So Battery Tender, our title sponsor of the series, great company, great products, very, very happy to have them involved in the series. But one of the things they do, aside from putting up prize money and some other things, is they've created a thing called the Hard Charger Award to not only reward drivers on the track, but also their crew chiefs or their mechanics. So for the car that passes the most cars during the race, so if you don't have a good qualifying, you start near the back, and you pass a lot of cars. As you can see, we're up to 200 total passes in this race. There's a prize, there's a podium and a prize for the driver and the crew chief of that car. They each get a $1,000 check from the folks at Battery Tender, and we do that for every race. So it adds up, and it's a great way to recognize not just the drivers, but the guys who put in the real hard work for long days and long nights to get these cars ready, sometimes with a very fast turnaround, as we had yesterday overnight. So hats off to all the mechanics and the crews who work on these cars, and hats off to Battery Tender for recognizing them with the Battery Tender Hard Charger.
But back to earlier comments in which we referenced the young guns, Tyler Maxson and Tyler Gonzalez, Copeland Motorsports, Mo. They had 5 cars at Road America. They're down to 2 this weekend as Maxson and Gonzalez shifting focus to other areas. Copeland Motorsports says that they're still very much a part of the family, but with those cars available, Copeland Motorsports goes so far as to tell folks, hey, reach out to us, CopelandMotorsports.com, if maybe you think you want to give it a ride the last couple of races.
Absolutely,
we'll talk to you.
And Copeland is one of the bigger teams in the paddock. Copeland, McCombie McElroy Racing, 6 Sideways, Slipstream. These are teams who've created a very viable business model building and bringing these cars to the racetrack for young drivers who have enough budget to do a partial season or to do a whole season. Again, a season in these cars, by comparison to a season in some other series, is really quite affordable, especially when you measure it up against the prize money that's available at all different levels. So Copeland, yes, they have the two 14-year-olds. The two Tylers are not here this weekend for a variety of reasons, good reasons. For Tyler Maxim, at least, he's had success in another series using this same car and has decided to focus on that series over at SRO. Tyler Gonzalez, unfortunately, wrote his car off the last time out at Road American, so he's in the process of trying to put his season back together. But yeah, for Copeland, for Six Sideways, any of these teams, they have cars available, and if you're sitting out there on the couch thinking, hey, I could do this, you got to be IndyCar licensed, which is not such a steep hurdle to get through. But yes, there's teams and cars available.
Our IndyCar radio driver analyst Anders Krohn is chomping at the bit to get in one of these cars, so maybe we'll hook him up with Copeland Motorsports, and Wally Levitt, our network director, will be responsible for the crash damage. And trust me, I saw Anders race. There will be crash damage.
I was going to say, I'm glad, Mark, that you brought up this Copeland offer, because this is a great opportunity to make my announcement that I'll be leaving the broadcast booth at Portland International. I'll be making my driving debut for Copeland. They have gone out, they have found a seat. It's a 5X wide, they told me, and they've even lengthened the pedal box. So I wish you guys the best of luck in the booth on the West Coast, but I will be busy propping up the back of the field in Mx-5.
My guess is you'll be back in the booth after 2 laps.
Yeah, we better line up some interviews, because we're going to have a few cautions, I think, with Tony out on
I don't think that's far from the truth, to be honest with you.
8 minutes to go, Tony, and we mentioned yesterday all of the drivers saying Mid-Ohio lends itself to a bit of patience in terms of strategy. We've not seen a lot of patience, but right now it looks like maybe the front 5 or 6 content to ride along, and we get down to about the 3-minute mark. That's about a lap or 2 left, and that's when it's go time.
Well, 8 minutes, 37 seconds to go in this one, and it was, I looked up at the clock yesterday, we were inside about 12, 11 minutes when you really started to see guys really begin to peek out, really take looks. But yeah, Mark, it's a tale of 2 different races. Things have not been very patient at all. We've seen multiple lead changes. We've seen swaps for position all the way through the top 10. Ryan Hall, we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but Ryan Hall just dropped on the exit of turn 2. We're coming up on a lap since that right now, and he has dropped all the way back. He was running, it looks like he scored in 12th right now. That's where he ended up when they came back across the timing line. So Hall falls from the top 5 outside of the top 10. And turn 2, it's kind of been Calamity Corner, that exit that we see right there. As my man Chris Wheeler would say, it's all about the exit shot when you leave a corner like turn number 2 and you run down the back straightaway. But yeah, I think you're exactly right, Mark. We're getting inside those last couple minutes. Celine Roland pulls out on the outside of Robert Noaker. This is just a heads up. Nobody's got any help. We're going to see who can break later into the corner. Noaker has the inside line through 4, but then it bends back left. Celine Roland is there. If he can stay right there, he'll shoehorn Noaker out of the lead. He runs him all the way to the exit of 5. They set now back up for 6, and Noaker's still there. Noaker shows him the bumper. He keeps the lead.
Robert Stout is right there along with Kemper, so those two battling it out for the lead. Need to make sure that they don't open the door for Stout and Kemper, who are waiting to pounce. And what a huge rebound again. This appears to to be for Kemper, who came as his points leader yesterday.
Running right around 17th, 16th, as we see the 55 go for a spin. Who's that? I think that that's Uretsky.
Yep.
Moise Uretsky. But yeah, Mark, Drake Kemper having a really good rebound of a race, because he was hovering around 17th most of the race yesterday, and then some late race drama resulted in him finishing outside of the top 20 when it was all said and done for round 7. So yes, Kemper has got to be smiling right now. Of course, he's not done. He wants to pick up a few more positions. Ryan Hall has a good rebound lap right there. Goes purple, minute 37.413. He's your quickest driver on the track. He's really putting his head down right now as he's trying to reel back up to the top 5 where he lived most of this race.
So we spent some time one of our IndyCar radio practice sessions with Robert Noaker. As you see him, you see just behind him a side-by-side battle between Stout and Roland. And our Dave First, who's the sports director of the ABC affiliate in Indianapolis, doing a feature on Robert Noaker that'll air Monday night, which you can find on RTV's YouTube page or their website if you don't live in the Indianapolis market. He's an impressive young man, and he has not wavered here today.
He's an impressive young man when you meet him in the paddock, but he's incredibly impressive when you just watch the race car. There's no way a seasoned veteran watching this race who didn't know who was driving these cars would guess that that's a 15-year-old at the head of the field. Not only a 15-year-old, but a 15-year-old who's in his sophomore year in this series and already has 3 wins under his belt. He drives like a veteran. He drives like somebody who really knows how to get this done.
And he leads Celine Roland through Thunder Valley now and opens up about a 3-car length advantage with Stout and Kemper really laying on one another behind them. That is the battle for third as it heads toward the carousel. Gresham Wagner in the 5th position. Michael Carter, Ortiz, Luke Oxner rebounded from a long day yesterday to get close to the top 10. He's currently running in the 8th position. Peter Enzer and Ryan Hall. Tony talked about that big off, and we have, just as we talked about the 99, and it looked as though that he was going to make a nice rebound. He's sitting sideways at the racetrack right now off the carousel.
I don't know if that's the announcer's curse defined
Probably.
right there, but as soon as you start to talk about him, something goes wrong. And I thought he might have had trouble at the front end, but he was just full lock right there trying to get out of the grass. Oh no, that is
massive points hit.
That is massive for Drake Kemper as he was looking to rebound so well after yesterday. And is that Roland slow?
Yep. Yeah,
Roland slow through one.
Yeah, we just saw Celine Roland really slow through the front straightaway. He pulled off the driver's right, the left-hander of turn number 1. So Roland and Kemper both going to take massive points hits here in the final 4 minutes of this race.
This is not the place you wanted to come in as a points leader, apparently, Tony.
Yeah, no kidding. Lexington really must be French for wild card, because boy, this has been a weekend I've never seen in 3 years working this series. I've never seen such attrition affect the top runners at the championship point table. Kemper with bad luck yesterday, worse luck today, and now Roland right after he takes over the point lead, he's going to struggle.
Yeah. So I have no idea what's going on with Celine Roland's car, but if you saw Kemper's car get running again, the rear bumper cover was loose, which suggests to me that he might have had some help getting around. Somebody might have tapped him in the right rear and got him turned around. We'll see after the race, or if we can find a replay of that.
Well, and look what this has done to the lead, Mark. That's Robert Stout and Gresham Wagner right there running for second, third, and then a country mile up in front of them, at least at MX-5 Cup standards. Robert Noaker's got the biggest lead we've seen almost all season this late in a race.
Yep, we're getting a look right now at what happened with Kemper as they start to work their way. I think first the car appeared. He got up on the curb and it looks like it stepped out on him.
You're exactly right, Mark. I was feeling really nervous because I thought by the look of it, oh no, Wagner got right into the back of Drake. But again, based on the limited replays we've seen, Kemper might have lost control of that car thanks to the curbing, and that's what got him a little bit yawed out on entry. And then Gresham Wagner, he's got nowhere to go, and he runs right into the back of Kemper and finishes the spin. But again, I don't think you can place blame on the 5 car for that solely.
I would agree with that. It looked like the balance of the race car was upset, lost a little momentum, and but Gresham Wagner just absolutely had nowhere to go. You got to credit the drivers running P2 and P3 for being smart enough to try to get lined up. Talking about Stout and Wagner, they're trying to get lined up. They'd like to get Carter with them, and they need to get lined up if they have any hopes at all of tracking down Robert Noaker, because the clock shows about 2.5 minutes to go.
Watching a really good battle just a moment ago. Our camera operators around this track picked up a great fight. There it is right there. That's going to be for 5th position. The Flow yellow and black car of Luke Oxner. Then we see Peter Enzer, Zach Lee, Alex Bashura, John Dean. They're all dusting it up right now. And then speaking of dusting it up, that was the 4 of Brian Ortiz from Copeland Motorsports, dropping his left side BFGs as he tries to reel in Luke Oxner, but that's going to hurt him more than help him. Oxner's going to try and set sail and leave Ortiz in the dust, because Oxner's looking to rebound himself as well after a topsy-turvy day yesterday in round 7.
Ortiz benefiting a bit, though, Tony, from those contenders falling by the wayside. He's worked his way up to 5th, and he's a championship contender.
Well, yeah, Oxner has actually just nipped Ortiz for P5, so Oxner's up to 5th, Ortiz is 6th, but you're right, Mark. The real weirdness right there that involved Drake Kemper, Gresham Wagner, that has unfortunately spread things out massively. We never see the cars this separated in MX-5 Cup racing, but it's really shaken things up. It's put Oxner inside the top 5. Ortiz is there. Zach Lee is in 7th, Mo. Enzer's in 8th. Hall and Bashura, your top 10.
And while he's running down in 16th, Celine Roland appears to be back up to speed and is running. His last lap was 126. Sorry, no, 138. So very close to the pace. Whatever was wrong with that car seems to have sorted itself out.
Every spot will help he and Kemper. The problem is right now Roland is running about 2 seconds behind Sparky, who runs just in front of him. As we said, about a 2-second separation there. And as far as Kemper, he's a full 2 seconds behind Uretsky as well.
But remember, this is multi-class sports car racing,
right.
and even though he'll get a position in the overall, if he should catch Nathaniel Sparks, his teammate at 6 sideways, that's not going to help Roland in the championship battle, because John Dean, Hernan Palermo, and Sparks are racing in ND1. So even if Roland can catch those guys and pass them, it's all for naught. And there's Zach Lee, it looks like, off on the left side of the track going through Thunder Valley. Lean out of trouble. I think these guys just want to go home. Mid-Ohio, they must have put butter down on this racetrack or something before we went racing today.
White flag is out for Robert Noaker, and Robert Noaker continues to be the dominant car. However, as we say that, Robert Stout has flat hit the button off of turn number 1, and that 1.1 second advantage is gone. They are nose to tail now as they head toward turn number 1.
Noaker knows exactly what he's got to do right here, and that's defend, defend, defend. We just saw the notification come across the timing monitor. Stout, your quickest driver on the track. They're going to catch lap traffic here. This will be very interesting to see what the 22 does as far as letting these guys get around. But Noaker goes all the way down to the bottom of the back straightaway here, Mark. He knows he's got to defend. Noaker's hitting the flashers. That's sports car terminology for, hey, heads up, we are coming through. The mirrors have been knocked in on the driver's side and the passenger side. Stout's going to try and go around the high side in turn number 4. We know the track bends back to the left right there. Stout is there. Noaker doesn't let him through so easily, but Stout's going to take the lead.
Stout shoves him right off the racetrack, and Noaker comes storming back to hold on to that second spot. He was in danger of losing that position to Gresham Wagner and Michael Carter. He comes storming back again. Don't know if he's going to have enough time to catch Robert Stout or not. At the exit of Thunder Valley, it's a lead of about 0.2 of a second now as they work their way toward the carousel. We could look deeper in the field. John Dean has the lead at ND1. Take him home, Tony.
Boy, if you have a weak constitution, the final lap of an MX-5 Cup race is not for you. Stout put the absolute muscle to Robert Noaker, and for the first time in 3 years, Robert Stout is going to come out of the final corner, and he's going to be the first to see the checkered flag. Stout is your winner here at Mid-Ohio. He gets it on the final lap from yesterday's winner, Robert Noaker. Gresham Wagner had a great pass on Michael Carter. That's going to put Wagner on the podium in third. And then in that ND1 race, John Dean is going to go 7 for 8 here in 2019. Dean is your winner. He pumps the fist out of the roll cage in that number 16. The man with the sideburns gets the win. Hernan Palermo comes home second. And Celine Roland's going to get around Sparks. It's going to help, but not by much. And Sparky's going to round out your ND1 podium. But how about it right there? Robert Stout has been whittling away and working so hard for years in this series, and he's about to stand on the top of the podium here at Mid-O.
Robert Noaker's car must have gotten loose somewhere on that the next to last lap, because it was on the last lap going into turn number 1 where that gap really closed. Because, I mean, it was consistently around 1.2, 1.3 seconds. And when they came by us the final time for the white flag, it was down to 0.2.
You're exactly right. They might have broke something. Maybe it was traction. I'm not sure. But he certainly struggled on that second to last lap. I want to take back one thing I said. Stout has won in this series before. I apologize if I made it come across as if he has not. He has scored a victory in the Battery Tender Global MX-5 Cup, but this is his first of the season. That's what I want to make clear to everyone. Stout from McCumbee McAleer Racing on top. Yesterday's winner, Robert Noaker, in second. Gresham Wagner, pole winner from yesterday, is third. Carter fourth. Auction rounds out your top 5. And man, what a last lap. Mid-Ohio continues to provide that for us every year we come here.
The 49 of Peter Enzer is the Hard Charger Award. And again, folks, remind folks exactly the distinction that goes along with Peter Enzer being the Hard Charger Award.
So Peter Enzer will win the Hard Charger Award from this race by virtue of the fact that he passed the most cars during the race. Passed for position. We had 285 total passes during the race. We had 3 race leaders and 5 lead changes. But Peter Enzer gets the Battery Tender Hard Charger Award for having passed the most cars during the race. And Peter will get a check for $1,000 from from Battery Tender, as will his crew chief and mechanics. They'll get a nice check for $1,000 to reward them for giving him a car capable of making all of those passes.
We spent some time yesterday with the folks from BF Goodrich, but we'll give you an opportunity to again give them an attaboy for what they provide in terms of a tire that these drivers just put through a total and complete pounding over the 45 minutes of racing here. They're a great partner for the series.
Great partner for the series, have been for many years, and of course they're all over the place in motorsports. They're everywhere, as we heard from Peter Calhoun yesterday. And particularly in this series, they provide fantastic tires that allow for a very racy championship, as we've just seen. They allow the drivers to really push these cars to their limits and push themselves to their limits. The tires don't degrade a whole lot, so they don't have to really play strategy. They can run as hard as they can on these tires. And yes, our thanks to our folks at BF Goodrich.
Let's go to Nick Yeoman.
How about Robert Stout out of that Lucas Oil Racing TV MX-5? First of all, where did you come from? Because after that little dust up with Kemper that we saw in the carousel, it looked like Robert Noaker was gone. How'd you run him down there in the closing laps?
Man, I just put my head down as hard as I could. Full qualifying laps on that one. It was a hard battle, and there was a few times I got freight trained down the back straight and was able to make it up under braking. MMR has one of the best drive and drive programs in MX-5 Cup. They're awesome. The car's been literally untouched since we unloaded it on Friday. So great car. Really happy to have Lucas Oil and SC Fuels on board for this as well. It's Lucas Oil's 30th anniversary as a company. So what Forrest and Charlotte have done for the motorsports industry, like Mazda, is awesome. So to be able to bring them home a win on their 30th anniversary is a really cool thing to do.
Walk us through turns 4, 5, and 6. It's the best passing point on this racetrack. You knew you had to get aggressive. Walk us through the pass.
Yeah, I tried the exact same move yesterday, and he got the better of it. I did not want that to happen today. Honestly, we had more contact than I would have even liked, but as soon as my right rear got any kind of contact, it made it very difficult to turn the car left. So it's unfortunate it even had as much contact as it did, but man, we've just been racing really well together over this weekend, and I'm happy. I think he still finished second right behind me, and for me and him to work the way that we did and pull off 2 1-2 finishes working together was really cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's Robert Stout, your winner in ND2. With the last lap pass, we'll work our way over and talk to John Dean, who scores another victory in ND1. John, the car looks plenty dirty, but once again, you're in victory lane. Walk us through your day today.
I just tried to do the same game plan as yesterday. You know, try to be protective at the start. You know, and not get caught up in anything silly. But that worked out, and I actually had a really good start and was able to, I think, pick up a position or two. And then I knew I just needed to gap my other guys, Palermo and Sparky, and try to get some distance and hopefully wait for them to drop off. And then once they did, I tried to do the best I could to get out of the way of the other guys that were racing for position. This car, Harrison Contracting MX-5 that I ran today, was amazing. I felt like I could do that all day long. The car just handled brilliantly. The 6 Sideways guys are awesome. My car manager, Apollo, is great. He gave me a really good car today. Hopefully we do this again in Portland.
He's been on quite a roll. Congratulations, John.
Thank you.
7 wins in 8 races. Your winners here at Mid-Ohio, Robert Stout and John Dean.
I think more impressive, Mo, than what John Dean has done in terms of how he's dominated that ND1 classes, especially this weekend, the way he's been able to hang with the ND2 cars.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, John is a force to be reckoned with in any kind of a car. He's a brilliant driver, particularly in an MX-5, because he really, really understands the car. He's raced them for a long time, not only as a racer, but as a team owner and helping other young drivers. I mean, we have several drivers in the field who run in 6 Sideways, of which John is the principal. You know, he's a very, very important part of the MX-5 Cup family, based down there in Sebring. Does a lot of testing with new drivers coming into the series, and yeah, a racetrack like this allows those ND1 cars to close the gap a little bit, and a driver like John Dean is able to take full advantage of that.
Labor Day weekend is next. Weekend starting August 30th when we go to Portland. Put on a great show there. All the series that raced there last year as the NTT IndyCar Series returned, and then. I don't know about you, but I'm a little excited. It's always, there's a tinge of sadness with seeing the season come to a close, but I guess the good news is we get to decide the championship at WeatherTech Raceway in beautiful Laguna Seca.
Yep, absolutely. What a great couple of races to end our season. 4 races. We'll have 2 at each place. We go back to Portland for the 2nd year in a row, and we're back to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca after being there for many years. And of course, that's sort of a spiritual home for Mazda,
Sure.
was for a long time. And so we look forward to going back there. Monterey is a fantastic part of the country. Anyone listening and watching wants a weekend away in mid-September, then Monterey's the place to be.
Let's spend just a couple of seconds here before we go. We've talked about a lot of the sponsors and a lot of the folks associated with the series. Of course, Mazda and BF Goodrich. Before we go, we do have to thank Battery Tender for all they do for the series.
Absolutely. We wouldn't be here without the folks at Battery Tender. Great brand for people who care about cars. They have a full line of car care products, anchored, of course, by their charging products. And they've found very creative ways to get involved with the series. We mentioned the Hard Charger Award. That's a great way to celebrate their product and also the people who work on the cars, and that's fantastic. But the enthusiasm and the energy they bring to the series, is added value. You can't really put a price on that. And so not only are they a sponsor in the traditional sense, but they're also part of the family, and they bring a level of enthusiasm and energy that's really quite valuable to the family of the series.
285 total passes and a last lap pass for the win. That's not a bad way to start the day here in Mid-Ohio.
No, it's not. We have a full day of racing for the folks here at the track, or folks tuning in a variety of ways to watch the full slate of open wheel racing left today. But yeah, great way to start the program.
All of us at IndyCar Radio and IMS Productions enjoy being a part of this. We had fun today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, for Mo Murray, Tony Laporta, and Nick Yeoman, congratulations again to Robert Stout. He is your winner. Another exciting day of racing underway here at beautiful Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. I'm Mark Jane. So long for now.
Experience the reimagined Mazda 3.
It doesn't matter what you're driving or where you're going. It all starts with Battery Tender, because if you can't start it, you can't use it.
For Mazda, and back-to-back wins, twice in 7 days. It's a win for Mazda Team Yost.